All right, here we are. We're back. All right. So this customer, his name was Tin. So I'm gonna go and show you the conversation that was with Tin. So basically, once I'm like, as I said before, Facebook ad, the lead will come in, and then um, there is some automation set up within this that categorizes what type of client it is. And you can see here it's a Facebook opt-in with no response. That has put it in an area called a pipeline, which is basically an opportunity to have a conversation with. This is an automated message that is preset and goes out. So you can see here, all I'm trying to do is engage to get the customer to respond. Because once the customer responds, you can see this symbol here means that it's a automated message. This is where these stars are. This is actually the AI chatbot. So you can see it's a customer that's quite engaged, telling me his room size, what type of speakers, he's got a projector, and basically the different parameters of his specific job. So um, this is all done through AI. It's having a conversation, it's asking questions, and I've trained it to say, is it single or double story? I've gone through and I have basically, and this is a really good thing to do, is document what are the questions that you ask within your sales process because they become such useful tools when you're building your knowledge base to be able to upload it to make it sound like you and have a conversation as you would if you were doing the consultation over the phone. So it's asking what type of speakers, whatever works within a budget, um, and goes through all different types of um, specific information to do with the customer's um, details. I've kind of preset here that most of the setups we do are with between 7 and 15,000. And you can see that here, that didn't fall in line with the customer's budget. This specific customer had some equipment already, so he was looking for a couple of items and mainly installation. So, and this is where the optimizing of the bot really happens. You can see these thumb up and thumb down. So as it's talking, I've got the app on my phone. So when I can, I'm kind of giving it feedback and saying, yes, that's a good response, or no, that's not a good response. And it'll open up a box to say, basically, what would you respond with for this conversation in this part. And then once you've hit save, it then updates its knowledge base. So as you're giving it feedback, it's constantly learning and constantly getting better and optimizing. And the beauty about this is like if you think about training a team member, and sometimes people, especially when they first come into a business, like they get bombarded with information processes, how we do things, all that type of stuff, and it's information overload. So there can be gaps where it's not, that person needs to learn it two, three, four times. With the AI bot, once you've gone and uploaded it into the knowledge base, it's locked in, it knows and you just constantly keep giving it that thumbs up or feedback if it's wrong. Um, and then you can see my outcome was a calendar booking. So here it's recommending our calendar system, and it's telling the customer, "Can you let us know when it's done?" So it's responded and said done. And this is how this customer ended up in the calendar. From there, um, I literally had a conversation with him, reviewed what had been spoken about in the chat. So I was up to speed with what the customer's needs were, and then literally quoted it and closed the deal. And then we went out and fitted the job. Um, I can I'll show you here on my phone. So it was actually a really nice, neat installation that we got done for him. So this was kind of like his spare room. And then as we go through, like there's a nice cinema screen there. And like I said, he had some of this equipment, and we just went in, put his equipment in, added an amplifier, and there's his completed cinema room. And the reason I show you that is because this is how we go from AI chatbot to sale. And, when you think about if you're marketing, like dial up your marketing spend on Facebook, this thing doesn't get tired and it doesn't stop working. So it's constantly talking and optimizing customers. And that's how I'm getting the volume of traffic flow and of hot leads in the calendar. Um, I'm at the process now of building what's called a closer. So, like in the coaching world, you've got like setters, which are people that are setting appointments for salespeople. And then you've got the closers, which are actually sealing the deal. So, the next iteration for me is building a closer that then comes back in and follows up who is, responsible for saying, hey, you've got your quote, just wanted to bump a message and see if you were keen because we've got some availability this week, something like that. So now I'm going to go in and actually show you the back end of the AI. And this is the system that we sell and use with the AI agents in them, and they're tailored to, any type of business or what you basically need the AI to do. In the event that we're running, Elevate Your Business, we break this right down so that you can actually have a system working ready to go. So if you find that I'm skipping over this and you really want to dive into it, then just let us know. We can send you a link to Elevate Your Business. It's a 2-day live event, and that's where we really look under the bonnet of the business and look at where the big levers are we can pull to get the best outcome. So if I go into here and go to agents, you can see here I've created a few. And I've named them. One's Adrian, he's the home theater specialist. Dave is the GPS tracking specialist. And James is a car audio generalist that kind of gives people a little bit of advice on car audio. So if I go to Adrian, for instance, and I look at things like bot training and brand voice, this is where you can really test your bot, right? So if I come in here and go, hey, I'm interested in home cinema, and send that off, you can kind of see what the response of the bot's going to be. Tell me a bit about, so what do you want to create? Single, double story. So I might just go and I'll give it feedback here and say, yep, that's a good response. And it says the feedback's received. So here it's like single story. I have a projector and need the rest, right? So I might send that off. And this is part of the training. You literally can come in here and send it messages, and it'll pop back and tell you what the response. Do you have a preference of floor standing and these are literally questions that I would ask if somebody came into the store and asked that exact question to me. Do you want floor standing speakers or flush speakers? And I want you to think about for your businesses, you are the knowledge base. You are the thing that houses all the information and has all the answers. And it's really about unloading that information into the bot so that we can get as much information into this area here, the knowledge base, as possible, give it the feedback, and if it gives us a wrong response, then also give it the feedback so that it updates the knowledge base. Um, your brand voice, this is kind of asking what type of tone of voice. I've put trustworthy in here, but there are some other options as like being direct or, there's depending on what your brand voice is and how you communicate with your clients, you can set that up how you want it. The reason I mentioned at the start about what the goal is, this is really key to an AI chatbot because you want to be able to program it in relation to what your goals are. So in here, there's a bunch of questions that and I'm just reflecting on conversations that I've had with people going, what are the key things that I need to know from someone in order to build trust with them, deliver a good, quote, package, whatever they're interested in, to then um, get the sale. So I have literally added all of those things in here because that will then go into the knowledge base. And I can keep, let's say, other questions come up. I can add a question or an objective here and put it in so that this knowledge base is really becoming the area of the AI's brain, essentially. That's how you've got to think of it. Um, there are some additional things you can set up here, like conversation guidelines. When I first deployed this, I found somebody would confirm that they were going to do something, and then it would ask a follow-up question. So I kind of put a guideline in there that, and I don't know if it's this one. Yeah, so only ask one question at a time, because what it was doing is asking multiple questions. And you got to think of like how you would communicate and how you have a conversation y- when you're trying to understand your client's needs, if you just keep banging question after question without an answer, you kind of put them in overwhelm, and they tend to disengage. So, one guideline here for that was just ask one question at a time, make it more conversational. Um, that that was pretty much the area of the bot and the training and the knowledge base. Um, in here with home cinema, this is where you can add your website links, any other URL that you have that is usable information to train it. Like, for instance, home theater. This isn't my website. That's a Dolby website, which is a sound configuration website. So by it crawling that website, it's educated itself on the optimal positions of speakers and all that kind of thing. So you've got to think about what are the resources that you've got access to that you can feed this knowledge base with to educate it. Frequently asked questions, things like this. You can add, these are some suggested ones. And these will come through as people are asking questions. So you can go in and uh, so if I open this up, you want to speak with someone, it's suggesting the booking link, right? So you can go in and edit this and put a different answer in. So as these FAQs are coming in, just like the training, you're constantly updating what is the response to these FAQs. This isn't live as yet, but it will be coming. This is a tables. You'll be able to upload things like an Excel spreadsheet. Um, future think like if you think about training a bot to do sales and actually quote things and have the pricing, if you've got all the pricing in a table, you'll be able to train the bot to basically build the quote for you. Super excited for when that's launched because it's just a whole nother level on removing the booking link and actually putting the quote in front of the client to close the deal. So it's kind of like you can see the direction of where this platform's going, but with what it does at the moment, the time reduction for me in sales is massive, and the quality conversations it produces and data it gives me is exactly what I need so that I can balance the time between attracting a client, converting a client, and delivering on those products and services. So that's pretty much inside the bot and what's required in order to do it. Like I said, it's the Facebook ad to the CRM to the booking link. So you might think, oh, well, how do I do this if I don't have any of this infrastructure? And I guess that's kind of where, when we go into things like elevate your business, you really start to unpack and get access to what systems are right for you so that it makes sense for your business and connect it up to have the perfect workflow. In terms of like, when I think of having a salesperson in the business, that salary, is anywhere from 85,000 to 130,000 for a good quality salesperson. When I think about, my time in building the AI bot, it working, it's $150 a month. That's what the system costs to basically have this in there working 24/7 all the time. So the cost saving on team is massive. In terms of like the example that I showed you with that home theater job, that was an AI chatbot to a short conversation with me to a $2,500 sale. And that's just one example. This week we've done many with GPS tracking, which is around $550 per client per unit. And same thing, it's educating them, tell them what they need. And literally, it's just the phone call is more just to know that there's a trust established there and, person to person. That's what I'm finding in terms of this is really warming them up to then make that decision. So if this has been, quite insightful for you and it sparked your interest about how you can deploy this in your business, reach out to us. We can give you a form for Elevate Your Business that goes through absolutely everything that's in there over the 2 days. There's going to be other business owners in the room. It's going to be an epic event. So, like I said, reach out. And if you find that you want to learn about chatbots, Facebook ads, or how you can automate and systemize the front end area of your business, just comment EYB and we'd be happy to send you the doc.